the key things for us to remember are that MDR TB does exist. On X-rays, we look for classic findings like bone erosion and paraspinal soft tissue. On CT, we see similar things to that. On MR, we will see erosions, collapse, liquefaction, and soft tissue. And a PET CT will generally show us metabolically active disease. And when I say PET CT, we're talking about fluorodeoxyglucose, which is essentially looking at metabolism of tissue. In terms of the long and short of radiology as far as MDR TB goes, we have no specific imaging features. There is nothing, no enhancement, no T1, no T2, no T3, no T5, no nothing else is going to tell us when we look at it on imaging that this is multi-drug resistance TB. So that is the most important thing for you to remember. So don't come barking at my door, but is this MDR TB based on the imaging? I don't know the answer. And the only thing that I can say that's important is that you do get a good, aggressive initial biopsy. And I think that's the biggest take-home point here. I think that's what everybody's been driving at. Once we have good information at the outset, we can work with that a bit better. And on follow-up imaging, we can look at certain tools that can help us to tell whether disease is improving or worsening. And we'll talk about that, and that's really what's going to help us. When you look at X-rays, healing is involved. It usually means you see more sclerosis, you see reduction in paraspinal soft tissue. On MRI, you'll see sort of reduction in the soft tissue components. You may see collections that are thin-walled, but the soft tissue components of those collections will tend to reduce. You'll see bony sclerosis. And on a PET CT, you'll tend to see the reduction in the actual value of metabolic activity and the actual extent of metabolic activity, which indicates that disease is improving. So here's sort of quick examples. When we look at TB, it's classically multi-level disease, which with end plate erosive changes, usually more than 3 levels, but it can be less, obviously. On PET CT, you'll tend to see this very large metabolically active area. And this is what sort of I wanted to talk about when you say sampling. If you look at this collection here, you can see there's a big paraspinal collection, but you can see that there's a vacuolated area in between which is not metabolically active. And if you were to sample that area and only take specimen from that area, it's possible that you won't get necessarily tissue that you want. Here's another example. So these are 2 scans. This is an FDG scan, which is metabolic activity. And this is a sodium fluoride scan, which shows you bony turnover. So you can see here that the metabolic activity is actually greater at the periphery, and the bony turnover is greater in the central portion. You're more likely to do a transpedicular biopsy and get into this portion where you may not necessarily get metabolically active tissue, and you therefore may not get significant, your biopsy results may be less than optimal. Also, if you look at this, you have a vertebral body that's destroyed here. If you did a transpedicular biopsy, obviously you'd get into this. But in this case here, where you have primary end plate disease, if you went transpedical, you wouldn't necessarily get into this end plate. And therefore, with a CT-guided biopsy, what we can do is we can actually get into the end plate itself, and we can be a little bit more, and especially in these early TB cases where you just have end plate disease, this is sort of a better way to do a biopsy. So I think this is sort of one of the things that an image-guided biopsy with CT adds, which you may not get out of doing a fluoroscopic biopsy. So this is now a typical case of healing TB. You can see the collections reducing over time. This is a case of with PET CT. You can see the metabolic activity reducing nicely over time. What tends to happen and what worries people is when you start to see progressive vertebral collapse or involvement, when you see stable collections over long periods of time, like we saw in the case that we examined earlier, and when we can see stable or increasing bone marrow edema. And when we do these, I think the things that I tend to look at, I'll try to look at the primary lesion. Has that reduced? That tells me that this is probably just, accentuation that's happening. Have nodes reduced? Has the edema reduced? It's a helpful tool, but remember that you can have edema increasing even though the disease is improving, because you now have biomechanical stress which can produce bone edema. Sclerosis is a good thing for us to look for, which you can see on MR. And then the question is whether the soft tissue component as opposed to the fluid component has reduced. And these are all just clues. None of these is like 100% diagnostic. So here, for example, we have someone who's gone from 2018, all the way across to October 2019. And you can see that the prevertebral collections are there. They're gradually reducing. But if you were to look at these two, you would say that there's only mild reduction, where suddenly you can see here it's gone completely. But from the initial scan to here, you can see post-op that the collections actually increased even. Okay. So here you can see all the things. Here, for example, is another case. If you look at the collection looks stable across both these situations, but you can see that the bone marrow edema has reduced significantly, and you can see there's an element of vertebral sclerosis that's happened here, which indicates that there's improving disease. This is a case where we had sacroiliitis. We did a biopsy, and we scanned this patient like literally, a month later, and you could see that the disease looks just much worse. And then, just continued on the same treatment, and it got better. Here's another case where you can see that there's vertebral erosion. We biopsied this case. It was TB. You can see a paraspinal collection here. But then when you look at the follow-up from September, 6 months later, you see the collapse of the vertebral body has progressed, but the paraspinal collection has reduced significantly. So again, this is probably healing disease. On PET-CT, you would just see the reverse. Something that was metabolically active would tend to increase if it was multi-drug resistant or if it was worsening disease. Conversely, if it's improving disease, the metabolic activity tends to reduce. So what I wanted to just drive home is, obviously it's got a typical risk profile, although it is endemic in our country also. We have no specific imaging findings upfront that will tell you this is multi-drug resistance or even consider multi-drug resistant TB. I think an initial biopsy is important, and the only thing I want to drive home to everyone over here, whether we talk about the case that we discussed earlier or this case or any case, it's very important that you diagnose the right tissue. And I think that's where, as image management people, we can help you with, is to making sure that we target the right area and we don't just take a biopsy from any old area and assume that we've got the right tissue. Follow-up imaging with MR can have a fairly varied appearance, and one needs to be cognizant of the differences in that. And I think PET-CT has some role to play in these situations where the presence or absence of metabolic activity can guide you on improvement and can also guide you on where you should target a biopsy in something that's a complicated case. So I'll stop with that. Thank you.